Hey guys, welcome back to Fish Biz 101. This is the second part of a 4-week class where we're talking about setting up a planted aquarium. If you haven't seen the first video, go back and watch it. Link will be in the description. And we set up this 20-gallon Aqueon Ascent tank. For this week's video, we're going to go over putting in your first fish, testing for your pH, fertilizing the plants, and I'm going to go over a couple other things with you guys. The first thing that we're going to go over is temperature. Last week I went over it, but I'm going to go over it with you guys again. You want to make sure that your aquarium is set to the proper temperature for whatever fish you are doing. Most tropical fish need their temperature around 78 degrees, so I have my heater here set to 78 degrees. Now that our temperature is where we'd like it, we're going to check our pH. It's important to make sure your pH is where it needs to be for the species you intend to keep. I'm planning on keeping a tropical community in this aquarium, so we want our pH around 7 to 7.5. So to test the pH, we're going to be using the Sarah pH test kit. We really like the Sarah test kits as they're very accurate. And it's really easy to use. All you do is put 5 milliliters of water in the vial and you add 4 drops of the drops, and then you compare it to the color chart and you have your pH. Okay, so let's test our pH. So it looks like our pH is a little bit above 7.5, maybe about 7.6, 7.8, somewhere around there. A little higher than what I was going for, but nothing too bad. I'm just going to add a little bit of acid buffer to get it back down. So depending on what your pH tests at, you're going to need to use 2 products if it's off. If your pH is too low, you're going to want to use alkaline buffer. That's going to bring your pH up. Or if it's too high, like mine, you're going to want to use acid buffer to bring it down. Alkaline buffer and acid buffer are really easy to use. Just read the back of the bottle. It'll tell you how much you need to use. In my case, since my pH really isn't that off, I'm just going to use a pinch of acid buffer since this stuff is so strong. If you're doing a planted aquarium like me, you might want to start adding in different supplements to help your plant's growth. What I would recommend is the Seachem Plant Pack Fundamentals. In this plant pack, you're going to get a bottle of Flourish Excel, Flourish, and Iron. The iron is what keeps your red plants red, and the Flourish and Flourish Excel is what helps accelerate growth and keep your plants healthy. I've got my personal pack of the Seachem additives here, and I'm going to go ahead and dose the tank. Depending on which one you're dosing, they all have different dosages and different amounts you have to do weekly. The iron is as needed. I'd recommend getting an iron test kit so you know what your iron levels are and where to keep them. The Flourish Excel, they recommend once daily or every other day. And then the Flourish, they recommend twice a week. One other thing you can do for your plants is Flourish root tabs. These are mainly meant for your plants that get a lot of their nutrients from the ground, like your swords, your nubias, and your cryptocorns. So we're going to add some of these into the tank. So the package instructions say to do 1 tab every 4 to 6 inch radius. So we are going to do that now. So now is my favorite time and we're going to pick out some fish. Since this is a brand new tank, we don't want to just start throwing in random fish. We want to pick nice hardy fish that are going to live through the nitrogen cycle. I'm going to talk about the nitrogen cycle later, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to put in our first fish. During the nitrogen cycle, your parameters are going to be up and down constantly, so we want to pick a fish that's strong and not going to mind it. On the screen is a list of my favorite choices, and I'm only going to pick one from the list, so let's go get it. I've chosen my fish. I went with the white skirt tetras. I've got 5 of them here. If you go with a schooling fish, you want to make sure you get at least 3. I would say always go with more. I like to do 5 or more, but I'm just going to do 5 for my first fish. So when you get your fish from us, you're going to get them in a bag. First thing you want to do is place the bag in the tank and let it float for about 20 minutes to get used to the temperature.
20 minutes later.
Okay, it's been 20 minutes, so I'm going to let my fish out. I'm going to pour them through the net into this cup. I don't want to get any of the water from the store into my tank. The reason I'm going to avoid getting that water in my tank is because as they're sitting in the bag and you're traveling and getting home, they are going to waste in the bag and the ammonia levels are going to rise. So if we poured all that water into our tank, we'd just be pouring in an ammonia bomb. We don't want to do that. That's it for episode 2 of Fish Biz 101. Next week, I will be going over more water testing and other things to do while you're waiting for your tank to be ready for the final fish. Make sure to follow our Instagram, like our Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!